Finally, Izuku Might is here to save the day. So proud of my boy. What's up? It's Truth Hero, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter review. So Boku no Hero Academia chapter 309 of the manga. Deku teams up with All Might and the top 3 pro heroes, Best Jeanist, Hawks, and Endeavor, as well as reveals the secret of One for All to his mother, which would have cleared a lot of confusion if he had done that sooner, but I get it, secrecy's sake. And he sets out as the hero we all wanted to see, Izuku Might, to stop Shigaraki. Let's dive in. The chapter opens with Midoriya carrying Muscular to the police and dropping him off, still using the smokescreen quirk from the 6th user to avoid revealing his identity. Deku just shows up and drops him off at their doorstep, and the police are like, whoa, what is this? Who are you? And Deku's like, in his smoke field, you got any spare maidens? I don't know what that means, but the police probably can't do anything to Deku, and at this point they probably don't care. The Tartarus escapee was just delivered to you on a silver platter. I'm guessing at this point in Hero Society, with everything breaking down, the police really aren't going to question this. They're going to write this off as a much needed win. Deku using his smokescreen quirk to conceal his identity works for the most part, I guess. Shindo knows, and I'm sure he'll tell his girlfriend. And I think it's okay that the students of Ketsubutsu Academy find this out. I mean, they'd probably just admire him. He's a first year, and some of them are third years, and he's already doing this. So I'm sure his secret is safe with them, and they probably won't tell any villains where he is if they get captured. But speaking of Shindo, he really has a moment here where he reflects on this guy named Deku. This is not the same Deku. How can it be the same guy who saved me during the license exam? He's so different, yet it's undeniably him. This really emphasizes here that Deku's completely unrecognizable to anything he was before, not only with his costume and the mask he's wearing, but also with his quirks and how he's using his powers. He's completely different. He has a new vibe, if you will. This is a renegade on his own Deku, and he's forced to be like this because Shigaraki's hunting him. But I like it. It's a new side to Deku, and I finally feel, maybe this is what's hinted at the end of the chapter with Izuku Might, which we'll talk about, but he's finally being the hero that he was always meant to be. That unique style that only Izuku Midoriya could bring to the table. I think it's really nice that these civilians who refused Shindo and Tatami's help evacuating are now helping her carry her boyfriend Shindo after Deku leaves him with her. Sometimes we don't realize that we're wrong or in a bad situation until it really slaps us in the face. And when they saw Shindo attempt and try and fight Muscular, they knew they messed up. And they're lucky that Deku showed up. I think their mentality now is, yeah, we don't trust Hero Society, but these kids are alright. Deku quickly returns to All Might, who's just hanging in a back alley, like keeping it on the down low. Hey, got any more of those quirks? Got any more of those one-for-alls for me? I think it's hilarious that All Might and Deku are keeping things on the down low and hidden from the public, but as we'll see, it's actually pretty serious as to why they're doing this and how they have to hide in the shadows like every hero right now. But it just reminds me of the times when Deku would get mentorship from All Might, maybe in that room where he'd drink tea with the principal, or they'd have some hidden training session where All Might was out for a run and Deku met him in the forest just to avoid UA students. It seems like a lot in this chapter is a throwback to All Might and Deku and Deku's relationship with heroes in general. Deku can take All Might's advice about using One for All, and he can use One for All to this level because of his newest support item, the Mid Gauntlet. What? Look, I don't know where in the timeline of My Hero Academia and in its canon the Two Heroes movie falls, but Deku has already used the full gauntlet with 30% of his power, and eventually at 100% by the end of the film. But now you're telling me that he has to downgrade to a prototype that definitely can't handle One for All at 100%? Nani? Come on. Wait, you know what? I ain't even mad. This actually just helps show even more how dire the situation is in Hero Society. Support items are hard to come by, even for the heroes. Now there's travel restrictions making this even harder, which actually kind of sounds like the current world we're living in, so I don't know. My Hero Academia crossover with reality? I love that All Might is once again training Deku, and I really like that Deku and other heroes are embracing the use of support items. Really, that's their only option. Either adapt and try to survive this new chaotic villain world, or perish. Hawks calls All Might to get an update on Midoriya and encourages them to work with the pro heroes since they're in danger. The villains are looking for Deku, and All Might in particular, who doesn't have a quirk to defend himself with, is in even more danger. What do you guys think about what Hawks says here? We'll discuss this more when we talk about the team up at the end of the chapter, but I think Hawks is right. This is pointing to All Might being in a dangerous situation just by being around Deku. I don't know if it's death flags or red flags for All Might, but it's at the very least not an ideal situation for someone who doesn't have a quirk. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is All Might going to encounter Shigaraki soon, and will this be his fate? We get a flashback of Deku waking up in the hospital after the villain war arc battle has concluded, and I'm not sure if this is the real translation, but this blurb at the bottom of the manga panel that describes the flashback says, while other patients have left the hospital, Deku is still spending time with his one true love, his hospital bed. I hope that's the official translation, because this is amazing. Also, Deku hospital bed now confirmed to be canon? Unlike other times where Deku made his mom upset and broke all of his bones, the damage was external this time, and apparently his one-for-all quirk braced his body from within and allowed him to take these blows. Deku's anatomy is completely different. All Might, now that everything's happened like this, and everything that's going on, can you finally tell me about my son's quirk? And All Might agrees. He tells Inko Midoriya that this is a quirk that is a transference of power, and unless you want to be burnt out quickly, it actually favors someone who, ironically like Deku, doesn't have a quirk to begin with. This must be such a touching moment for Mama Midoriya because she truly feels like it was meant to be that her boy who always wanted to be a hero but wasn't gifted with a quirk, in the end was actually the chosen one. So much for My Hero Academia being about anyone can make it as a hero even without superpowers. Sorry, I'm just a little jaded that I don't have superpowers. Where's my one for all? We see Deku inform his mom and All Might that he will not be returning to UA since Shigaraki and the villains are tracking him and hunting him down, and he doesn't want to bring any of that danger to his fellow classmates and really anyone in society. I really like that we get this moment where he tells them this because his mom must be thinking, well, that's interesting, you've always wanted to go to UA and now you're not, maybe things are really dire this time. And All Might, of course, is shocked by this because he always expected that his successor would be a student at UA. Really great that we get to see this in the flashback because we don't know why. Well, we didn't get to see the moment Deku really decided to go off on his own and do it alone. So I love that this is included here. This does, of course, worry Deku's mom yet again. She was really happy for Deku that he got a quirk and attended UA, and she tried to be happy through all his injuries. And now it's hard for her to let her son be this reckless, even though he's doing something nice and trying to save people. Deku tells his mom here, remember when I saved you as a child in my little All Might costume as Izuku Might? Well, now I actually have to go out and save countless people in the real world as a real hero, as real Izuku Might. And I love this. This is so touching. It comes full circle. His mom's thinking about how guilty she felt when Deku, all he wanted to do was be a hero and he didn't have a quirk. And then suddenly, surprisingly, he gets into UA and he has a quirk. And now, Deku actually gets to be the hero he's always wanted to be. Not copying All Might, not breaking his bones, but finally, he gets to be Izuku Might. He gets to be Deku, of course. I don't think he should change his name to that. But this is such a great moment, and I think it's hard for his mom not to feel proud. She's always going to worry about him, but she really sees that her son has grown up quite a bit, and he's his own person and his own hero now. All Might is clearly emotional here too, because he feels like Deku is sort of moving on from him, and he's been Deku's father figure. He feels that there's more for him to teach Deku, and now that Deku has to go it alone, where is his place in Deku's life as a hero and really just a teenage boy? I think this is why ultimately he says, I'm going to accompany you no matter what you say, even if you don't like it. I'm still going to be there with you. And really, I think All Might still has more to teach Deku. All Might vows to accompany Deku whether he likes it or not, now that Deku is being hunted down by the villains in Shigaraki. All Might will also be with Deku while he teams up with Best Jeanist, Hawks, and Endeavor. And I can't help but think that while this is great, Deku gets more wisdom from All Might on his quirk and how to be a hero, because obviously All Might is a wealth of experience for him. I can't help but think that this is setting up some red flags and some death flags for All Might. I see it going down like we see the top 3 pro heroes want to use Deku as basically bait to lure Shigaraki. Well, All Might's going to be somewhere in this vicinity. I don't think that they can fight Shigaraki while also, lack of a better term, babysitting All Might who doesn't have a quirk. I just don't think that's a good combination. And I see this as being the first major clue and major arc, if you will, that All Might could seriously meet his end. I think it's a matter of time before Shigaraki finds Deku and the villains track down and have to fight the heroes. And in all this chaos, I don't see All Might coming out of it without any damage. So something, at least to me it seems, something's going to happen to All Might. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Is this really a red flag and a death flag for All Might? Will All Might meet his end to Shigaraki because he's accompanying Deku? Love to hear your theories on this. Speaking of people that are going to die soon, if Gran Torino is not going to meet his end soon, he's at least ready to go off into the sunset. I think this part where he's emotional and he's sort of lamenting that he's not with Shimura Nana in the afterlife, and he's surprised that she's very emotional here, really hints that he's done with hero work in My Hero Academia. We may never see him again unless he dies on screen, and I think, honestly, he's earned the right to retire and hang up his cape. In fact, he's literally giving Deku his cape here, so with that transference of that piece of clothing, he's also giving Deku his blessing and all of his wisdom. I also think it's very interesting what he says about Shigaraki. You know, you might want to save him and redeem him, and I can certainly understand Shimura Nana's emotions, but don't forget, death can also be a redemption, and I think that's very important for Deku to learn, because if Deku tries to go out on a limb and save or redeem Shigaraki without killing him, again, All Might is somewhere in the mix of all this without a quirk. And I don't want Deku to face a situation, I mean, it'd be awesome story and plot if he does, but it'd be pretty bad if Deku has to face a situation where he regrets not taking out Shigaraki because he was too lenient, and then that actually led to All Might's death. But let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Will Deku take Gran Torino's advice and redeem Shigaraki by killing him instead of trying to save him? And given this, do you think All Might, being around Deku in this dangerous situation, will meet his end via Shigaraki real soon? Love to hear your theories on this. If you like My Hero Academia content and these chapter reviews, consider enrolling at UA today by subscribing, because there is currently room for you in Class 1A now that Deku's off on his own. Until next time, hero or villain plus ultra.
「